Thank you for hitting my YouTube channel. My name is Penny Colpin. I've come to call it belly flopping into mysticism. That's based on a quote by Joseph Campbell, who was an American author and professor who studied cultural phenomena and myth around the world. One of his quotes was that the psychotic person drowns in the same water that a mystic delights in. In 1998, I endured what I have always considered to be a severe stress breakdown. To my knowledge, I was never officially diagnosed as psychotic or anything like that, but I was diagnosed as having bipolar disorder, which I knew at the time was an incorrect diagnosis. I had been crutching even toxic systems, dysfunctional systems. I'd experienced a significant amount of grief. I was 31 years old at the time. And a specific event just shattered all of that grief that had built up in my system. It was a way of shaking off all that toxicity. And instead of helping me through that process, trying to navigate the mental health system actually proved to be more traumatic. That's a horrifying statement to make. It's much more horrifying to live. I've always intended to get into public speaking because part of the reason I was able to get through it was because I rejected that model of illness and disorder, especially lifelong conditions. I never did pursue the course of treatment with medications and drugs. I knew that those were options, but I also knew that there were any number of things I could do and try before seeking that path. And thankfully for me, it worked. And so all these years later, as I look around at the mental health system, there's still too many people who are not served well when they have experiences similar to mine. I've had any number of private conversations over the last several years. And in fact, I make sure that people I consider my friends know of my past experiences because it's such a significant part of who I grew to be. So the purpose of this channel is to help share tools that did help me through, perspectives, specific works, certain people's whose work did help me. But there's also newer tools or newer concepts that also would have helped, that I wish I had heard of. There's any number of things that existed back in 1998, even a decade or two before, that would have helped as well. So having had that experience, I feel it's time to share what that is and hopefully provide some hope that a number of people, a significant percentage of people, have these types of experiences and actually come through to a healthier place. That's the message that too often doesn't even just get lost, it never gets shared to begin with. As it turns out, with the whole concept of belly flopping into mysticism, as I call it, there is a layer of I call it mystical consciousness. I should say that at the lowest points during this breakthrough process, I actually felt the souls of two friends of mine who had died at a young age. It was amazing how easy it was to recognize that energy. I'd never experienced anything like that before. So my experience was, I would even say, ridiculously spiritual. Not necessarily religious, but spiritual. And I even remember when I was going through the initial stages of that no, this is not bipolar. I will settle for nothing less than tripolar if we're going to have to put a label on it. That includes the mind, body, and soul. And this was, I don't know if you call it nature's way, my body's way, my mind's way of finding a better balance between that mind, body, soul connection. And ultimately, I'm healthier for it. So we'll see where this goes. I have a number of tools planned out to share and discuss. And I also have been reaching out to set up some interviews. So hopefully we can have some kind of healthy dialogue, some kind of interesting dialogue that might actually help others from being traumatized as I was in the following months after such an experience. So again, thank you for watching, and I hope you find something of interest here, something of aid, and have a great day.